They offered me $1 million for that store. I had savings for the next few months. I have to figure something else out. I have no idea. I don't speak English. I have no skills, but I'll figure something out.
Broke is a condition of the mind, not the pocket.
The amount of opportunity around us is unreal. It's just you can't fucking say that you're lacking something. Billionaires, even if they get to the bottom or they get fucking Donald Trump. The guy was fucking bankrupt and the guy fucking back on top. In the United States, people spend $108 billion on lottery in 2022. Instead of can you invest in your skills? Can you invest something long term? For me, I was running away from pain. My family was always broke, and I wanted to solve that once and for all, where we don't have to worry about money ever again. We're running 1.7, 1.9 return on ad spend, and we added advertorials, first dates 3x. In e-commerce specifically, you're not just in business of selling people stuff. You're in business of educating them and helping them achieve the best output with your product.
And we are back on my Miami tour of the podcast. And today I've got another e-commerce gem for you guys. This man has scaled multiple brands to over 100 million in collective sales. Alex Fedotoff, welcome to the show, mate. And I'm excited for this one.
Thank you for having me, Frankie.
Mate, it's unbelievable because I was only speaking to one of my friends in e-commerce that's done man numbers the other day. And I was saying to him that I was getting you on this podcast. And he was like, oh man, tell him, thank you so much, because since I added his advertorial piece into my business, I've scaled my revenue another $1 million a month. So obviously you're known well in the space for everything you do, especially around the advertorials, and I'm sure we'll go into that. But the first thing I want to go into with you is obviously your incredible journey to even make it into e-commerce. So can you give the audience a bit of a backstory into you? Because obviously you've come from Poland, Ukraine area to obviously the US now, living in Miami, and you've smashed it with success, but it's not been an easy journey for you.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I'm from Ukraine originally, born in 1990. So just that bridge, between Soviet Union and kind of independence. So poor family, we never had money. My mother was always abroad, just working, as a nanny, cleaning houses and stuff like that to provide for us, send us money. Dad, he was never able to work physically because he had surgery, at very at the 30 years of age or something, and so he was never able to work properly. And so that kind of the environment I grew up in, tough, kind of very the culture in Eastern Europe. I don't know, you're probably familiar. It's very everyone's very direct, rude sometimes, right? I mean, not sometimes, most of the times, people pretty aggressive. And so that was the environment I grew up in. Was this close many times to getting into prison and some dumb shit we were doing. But yeah, my kind of entrepreneurial journey started when I was 24 years old, and the war happens in Ukraine. And so we're and they grabbing everyone. They don't give a shit. They're just grabbing people. There's no equipment. There's no training, and they're sending them east to war with Russia. And I'm oh, fuck this shit. My wife is she probably was freaking out even more than me. So we're okay, we probably better go, and leave the country. And so we left the country, and we went to Poland. At that point, I don't speak English. I have no skills. I have no idea what I'm going to do with my life. And we found a job on a factory, $2 per hour. We're making these cups for Oktoberfest. So, when people drink beer and having good time in Oktoberfest, we're actually making those cups, handmade, always in dirt, from, the how it's called, the clay.
From always the firing, from all the firing of
exactly.
All the clay pots. It's just going over you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And so, so you come home from work and you go to shower, and your shower is pretty much orange, everything in red, kind of everything coming from you, all that, grease and stuff like that. And so we've been working there, and I'm at one point, I'm fuck, it's is this how it's going to be? Fuck, it's because you're coming outside to see the sun, it's let's say you need to pick up something from the outside, bring it inside into the facility, and you see the sun, the birds are chirping, everything's so fucking beautiful. And you're in this shitty kind of environment. You're fuck, is this ever going to change, right? And, probably many people feel this way, right? Kind of like as a fucking rat.
Is it a case of like the other people in the factory that you're with, are they feeling that in that moment as well? Or do you think a lot of them are kind of like, they just think that's how life is?
I think everyone wants a good life, right? But the stepstone between that good life and between that like shitty life and good life, that's where most people break or just don't make it, or they just don't persevere enough to get to the good side of things. Because it took me like 2-3 years between. So basically, I decided to quit my job at that at the factory. I had savings for the next like few months, but I'm just like, fuck, I have to figure something else out. I have no idea. I don't speak English. I have no skills, but I'll figure something out. And like one day I'm just going home from work. I have all of my clothes in the back. I'm with my wife. We both work in the factory like 12 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. And I'm like, fuck, and I just put all those clothes in the bag in a garbage can. And I'm like calling the guy, sorry, I will not be showing up, tomorrow, I'm done. And he's like, okay, cool, all the best. And then kind of like feel inspired for a few minutes, and then fuck me, what I'm going to do. And so I started the freelancer, right? There was like Elance at that point. Now it's Upwork. And I'm like going to the platform, trying to figure out English, like what the fuck these people hire for, what these people are paying for. And search engine optimization, that's your juice, right? Search engine optimization, like Google AdWords. I'm trying to learn like as a fucking maniac. Try to learn English at the same time. Created profile, broken English, kind of like profile. And next 2 years have been like fucking hard. Like you're applying for jobs. Mostly you don't get responses. If you get responses, these are for like VA jobs, right? Like I was a VA, like $8 per hour. I still have my profile. It's like $8 per hour. You could hire me for could hire me for $8 per hour as a VA. And so, but that I would apply for anything. And the way I would I think that's also like a good lesson for everyone listening is like, whatever game you're playing, you have to figure out your competitive edge, right? So at that point, I was like, first, I didn't have any belief that anyone would even hire me. My self-esteem was such a low point, like that my whole family, my whole life, like, hey, labor job is good as long as so no one like believed in me. My wife was a person that believed in me and like helping to build my self-esteem to the point where I could even have like, I would sit in the fucking laptop and I would, I could apply for a job, and like I would procrastinate and I would find ways not to apply for a job because I was afraid of the rejection. I was afraid of why would anyone hire me? Why would anyone fucking hire like a fucking guy who has no fucking skills, has no English, and so that was the starting point from which I had to build myself up. So at the end of the day, I think the key is. And that's what I'm trying to ingrain now. Like I have 2 kids now, and in my kids, the self-esteem, right? Because if they have the self-esteem, they can try things, they can figure out things, right? And with the amount of technology right now, like even what I had access to, like think about it, right? I'm broke person sitting like at that point in Poland, and I'm communicating with people from like across the ocean, from the United States, who never seen me, right? Who never like, what the fuck is this guy, right? And somehow, due to technology, right, I'm able to get these people to send me money, right? Like if you just comprehend it and like send it back like 20, 30, 50 years ago, the amount of fucking opportunity is just insane. And so from bigger picture, all the technology, all the tools is there. And so for me was, obviously, like a lot of that rejection first, like people don't respond. And I figure out my competitive edge was, instead of like applying for jobs as everyone else, people just fucking copy pasting templates. Hey, hello sir, you look, fuck no. I mean, put some work in, right? So I was like, okay, how can I get the edge? And I was recording these like short videos. So instead of just like sending people like a copy paste template like everyone else, I think if I would ever have a chance like even to get a job, right, to get a project, then it would have to be something different. And so I would create these like short videos, like 1 to 3 minutes. Hey, John, I see you're hiring for whatever role, and I have experience with X, Y, and Z, and I think I can help you. Please tell me more about your project, so I can see how I can help. And so now that's instantly kind of differentiated me from like 90% of people. So now I'm only competing with 10% of people that are, better and like at least personalizing responses.
So you're just cutting yourself through the noise, and you like there's an example. It's like I remember when I first set up contentremoval.com, I was sending out like equivalent to Loom videos, but it wasn't Loom back then, it's Loom now. And we were just doing like Loom videos out to like, okay, showing people's online footprint, because if they can see what I'm talking about, when I'm talking about, okay, look, this is where you're exposed online. This is how I can help you. I can remove this, and this, and this is how we can clean up the first page of Google for you. That's a very powerful thing to see in the physical world. Yeah. Whereas like, what you're saying is when everyone, because I get them all the time. It's I suppose you get this too. These short form creators on Instagram, Instagram DMs. It's just full of these short form creators that have gone on the Iman Gadzhi course, done the short form, whatever, and then they send me that template, and I've seen it 60,000 times. I'm like, bro, I've had him on the podcast. 100%. I know that template. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I've done a podcast with this geezer. You do not need to send me that template. Like, I've seen it.
100%. Yeah. And like, it's the same on Twitter. I'm getting like I don't know, 10, 20 of those a day, and I'm like, I already read it. Like, can it be more personalized? Can you at least look at my stuff? Can you at least fucking Google it, right, before you reach out? Like, you'll increase. I mean, I hire people all the time. Like, I pay people all the time. Like, you can have my business, but just put a little bit more fucking work in. And so I consciously or subconsciously applied that principle like early on. That helped me to get the initial traction. And then at some point, I had clients that were like into e-commerce, like doing e-commerce. And I'm like, okay, this seems like interesting, e-commerce. They one of the clients was from Japan. They were selling these like the jeans, like Japanese denim.
Right.
Which I don't know if you're familiar with.
I don't know. I'm interested because I've never heard of Japanese denim. So go on.
Oh man, fuck! It's actually good stuff. So supposedly, like all of the denim you have, like Levi, right? Levi's, like all of that shit is. I mean, the original version of that, like back when, they were digging fucking gold in California, that's where, Levi, I think, company started. The denim was very fucking sick, and that was like really fucking tough material. It was good to the point where you could fucking wear that shit like for months, right? Like, and you don't even have to fucking wash it, right? And that old tradition is still up there. Like, it's more kind of like niche, right, and smaller market, but there are people that are passionate about their fucking jeans and denim. And so they were like, we're selling these jeans. It wasn't his brand. He was like reselling products from different manufacturers in Japan. Like, the website is called, I think it's still there, it's called Denimio, Denim.io, like, but it's one word, Denimio. And they were selling these products. And but that just exposed me to the e-commerce model that, the guy was based in France, I think. And he was selling products here from like Japan, and most of his customers probably like United States. So shit. I mean, it sounds pretty cool, right? Like, kind of.
This blows open your whole mind. It's like, how can he be sat here while selling products from here to another country here, and he doesn't even see the product? Yeah.
And at the same time, he was making at that point like 300K a month revenue-wise. For me, that was like insane. Now it's like, fuck. I mean, it's very small business, very small store, But at that point, for me, it wasn't. He had a team. So that just blew my mind, opened my, oh, wow. This e-commerce thing is really, powerful. And but then, I didn't know what to do, like how to start it. And it wasn't until like maybe like, I don't know, another 6 or 12 months at that point, I'm getting better already. I figured out, okay, this is e-commerce. I'm kind of good at it. Maybe I just specialize in e-commerce, right? Like maybe just like instead of doing, because some of my clients were doing like plumbing, some of them doing like bedding, and I was doing like supposedly search engine optimization. I tried to do the best I can. Google AdWords. One guy was in New York, like selling jewelry, like expensive jewelry. I was running Google ads for him. And so a bunch of different clients, bunch of different niches. And it's very hard to be good at many things, especially if you're like one person army pretty much. And so, and I decided to like, okay, e-commerce, it seems like interesting. What if I just like become like specialist in e-commerce? And I just cut everything out. Like, okay, I positioned my profile accordingly. I started applying for jobs that are specifically for e-commerce. At that point, I already had a few successes, with this Japanese client and other ones. And so I could leverage that to get more clients. And then one of the clients comes in, it was 2016 or 17. And he's like, okay, I have this like store and I need you to run ads and stuff, on Facebook. So at that point, I already knew about Facebook because, some other clients asked me like, hey, can you run ads on Facebook? I'm like, sure, I can. And I'm like, okay, going to Google, what is Facebook ads actually? No idea. But, figured it out very fast. It was so easy. If you give me that platform like now, I'll buy all of the ads I can. It was so easy. Not a lot of competition. Facebook wasn't as like, now it's like 5-7 million advertisers on Facebook. It was, just early days. And so I started running ads for him, and that was dropshipping store. They were sending stuff from AliExpress directly to their customers. I was running their ads. The guy was like a kid from UK, and he was traveling all over the world because he was like spending money on ads. He was getting credit card points or points for the airline tickets, and he was like going to Japan. He was going to like Norway. He would live here, and like he was like had this like dream life. So
you're watching it, running them ads, and you're like, holy fuck.
And then I figure out, okay, so I know where he buys the product. I know he sent them from AliExpress, right? I know like the price, how much and then I know how much he sells them for. And I actually run these ads and I'm making him profit. I'm like, why wouldn't I do this shit for myself? And so I started, my first stores, and one of them picked up. And that first store, not first, it's probably like third. I made like in the first a bit more than a year, $4 million.
In your third store?
Yeah.
You made $4 million?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was, so the products were...
I thought you were going to say like $40,000.
No, I guess,
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And so, I made $4 million, but 25% profit. Because again, and we were running image ads. It's not like right now you have to be very good with like creative and ads and fucking advertorials. It's like, it's just early days.
What was that early brand?
So it was the B-roll. Right. So we were selling watches. So the watches were like free plus shipping, and
a free plus shipping offer. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember that of it.
Yeah.
Everyone was doing that.
Yeah.
Offer, yeah.
So basically, was that sort of, we were selling watches like kind of like you do like $3 whatever it was a cost. And then we're selling, hey, you don't have to pay for the watch, you have to pay for shipping. And the shipping's like $10, and we tested $12, and it worked. And it just, started, being profitable, like reinvesting back into the ads. And so the only kind of, so I was running that for like more than a year. And then I got some people reached out to me and like, hey, kind of like we connected, some Russians actually, and they'd say, hey, you want to sell your store to us? I'm like, sure. Of course, like, how much do you want to pay? We started talking. They offered me $1 million for that store. $1 million. And they gave me $1 million. So I made like $1 million in profit.
In profit, yeah.
And then $1 million was this. And I'm still living very frugal life. I'm not spending money on anything. I'm not buying myself fucking watches or like fucking Lamborghinis. Like, I'm just like very fucking frugal and just running this shit. And it was very like, I think at this point it's like very shady people, very shady transaction that, I exited that brand, but it worked out.
And it kind of is your first experience probably of just sitting there and being like, I've kind of got me and the missus out of this situation that we were facing. Like it took me a few years.
Yeah.
I've had to learn a lot of skills, because what there is in that, some people would say that you're lucky to get $1 million for the store. Some people say you're lucky to scale the store to 4 million that quickly. Some people would say luck. I wouldn't say luck. Here's why. Because through that journey, you had to learn so many different skills, SEO, virtual assistants. So virtual assistants helped you with the customer service of the store. The SEO helped you get the store ranked. The ads helped you run the ads. Do you know what I mean? Like all this stuff that you'd learn as a skill before you've even stepped into actual fully e-commerce. I think that's a testament to what you have to be willing to do to get to that 4 million. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And those few years, I mean, from factory to like running, it was stressful as fuck, because again, I think everything comes down to like, I was always fascinating how the fuck like billionaires, right?
Yeah.
Even if they get like to the bottom or they get like fucking Donald Trump, like the guy was fucking bankrupt, right? And the guy fucking back on top.
Because the skills that you pick up along that way, like someone like Donald Trump, because he knows how to leverage other people's money, and he knows how to put together deals. Donald Trump, it was being, unless he lost his actual physical mind, and he's got something wrong with his mind, he could never be broke, because his mind's conditioned to generate capital and to generate opportunity. That's how he's conditioned his mind. And I hope this podcast goes some way to helping people. Put this in your mind. You put the Frankie Lee podcast in your mind, and it kind of conditions you to seeing that there's more out there for you. And you don't have to drive to your carpentry job. You don't have to drive to your plumbing job. You don't have to. You can own the plumbing firm, or you can build the e-commerce brand whilst you're doing the plumbing job. That's the kind of thing that I'm trying to build with this. And people like Donald Trump never be broke, and that is because broke is a condition of the mind, not the pocket.
100%. And even they have like zero money, right? All they have to do is find the opportunity, find someone who has the money, right? If every successful, I still haven't. I'm not expert on this shit. Like our business is bootstrapped, always has been bootstrapped. Like now we finally got our like green cards here. Like so we have
congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a fucking hell, fight for that shit. But if you have the right, as you said, if you have the right mind, you'll find someone who has the money. You'll find the right deal, the right opportunity to raise, and then maybe either you operate that business or just find a way to make the, as you said, make the deal work, right? Even without your own money, right? Even credit cards. I mean, fuck, you can start a business with like a few $1,000s, or even for free if that's a service business, right? The amount, like that's what I'm like. The amount of opportunity around us, and hopefully, we'll open few minds, through our conversations. You're doing that consistently with your podcast, that the amount of opportunity around us is like unreal. It's just like you can't fucking say that you're lacking something. It's like you fucking can't.
This is designed, this whole podcast is designed to not just be listened to, but to be felt. I've designed it purposely like that from day one. And I constantly get messages by people saying similar things to that, and I'm like, I designed it that way. It's not just to be listened to. I actually love the art, but I just want to move people to take action. What was the pivotal point? Like, if you think back from what you've discussed so far, what was that pivotal point when you thought, do you know what, I have to turn the dial here, and there's no way going back from it, because this has to happen for me to get to where I've got to get to?
So we were working in a factory. And then my friend, I had a friend, and was a friend, but it's our values, like we just kind of went in different directions since then. And he was back in Ukraine, and he's like, all right, so here's like there's some business structure that is possible. Basically, there was the currency difference back in Ukraine and in Poland, right? So it's like I forgot the specifics, but basically you could buy the US dollars back in Ukraine for lower, and because of the price difference, because the national bank or something didn't adjust the rates, you could sell that dollar back in Poland, for instance, for higher, and then buy the dollars again for cheaper, and then so basically do this kind of like arbitrage. For that, you'd have to move across the border. Okay, like, well, I mean, seems like interesting. You can make like a few $100s in a single day because of that price difference. If you kind of, let's say, exchange like $10,000 or something, $5,000-$10,000. At that point, my whole savings were like about $5,000. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. Like I can make more, here in a few days doing this than I could work on the factory. And so we go. It was Friday or something after work. We travel back to Ukraine. We go to some fucking shady place with my wife where the guy is like, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but the way currency is exchanged, at least how it was like back in Ukraine when I was there, it's like there's some guys like they have these like bags here, kind of like they're like look very, everyone's so aggressive, but to each other, and so they're like sitting on the market, we call it bazaar. And so you come to the guy and say, okay, I want to exchange dollars. Okay, cool. How much do you have? How much? Okay, cool. So it's like $5,000. Okay, cool. All right, come here. And so we go to some shady fucking place. I mean, if the guy had a gun, he would have just like, hey, okay, give me fucking money, fuck off, and like, we were like clueless. And but he gave us the money, we exchanged, and so now we go back to the border, right? Oh, so before that, right? So that's kind of like where it comes in. I'm like, okay, we have 5,000. Okay, maybe we need to get more money, right? And we're calling everyone that we knew, like, hey, can you send me like fucking, I don't know, $1,000, few $1,000, like some minuscule amounts. But we want to get more money so that we can have more leverage, so we can make more profit. And then like, hey, I'll give you money back in like fucking 2 weeks, right? Or, whatever. Like we wanted to do this for just make money that way. And everyone said, no. Kind of like everyone pretty much like rejected, didn't want to borrow us money. And I think at that point it clicked that, fuck, it's like you have no one to rely on by yourself, At that point, it's like, fuck, back against the wall, you have to figure it out. And then you remember, it's like, because again, with the fucking amount of technology, with the amount of fucking opportunity right now, like today the person's fucking broke. In fucking 5-10 years, the person can be a fucking billionaire. It's like the things change so fast. Even, I mean, I was blessed with this, quite fast, kind of
trajectory.
Mm-hmm. And so, but you remember those things, right? When you're in the bottom, like, and someone treats you poorly, right? You remember those things. You fucking never forget. And I remember, okay, cool. Now I remember, they. I mean, I'm not I'm holding it, right? Like kind of like want to punish them or kind of like fight back in some way. But it's just, you remember how people treated you where you were down. And, but I mean, on the other side, it was good move from their side because, so it's you can look at it from many different angles. But at that point, they realized like there's no one to rely on. And so we get the money, we go back to Poland to exchange it. We come at night because the border is fucking, there are people kind of like manually walking. There's lines fucking kilometers, just to cross the border. So we arrived to Poland late. And then we find out while we were late in Poland that this whole fucking scheme just fucking ended because the bank just adjusted the rates. So basically there's no big difference in rates. So basically this whole scheme doesn't make sense. Either you buy currency here or in Poland, whatever, there's no big difference in the rates. So this whole kind of like scheme disappeared. And at that point, I remember with my wife, we were walking like in Poland, like at night. And we were like, fuck, this is like, because we're looking for these like small shortcuts, right? Like, hey, and also how many people think. There's like, I was reading stats, like 100 people spent in the United States, people spent $108 billion on lottery in 2022, buying lottery fucking tickets, right? Instead of like, shit, I mean, can you invest in your skills? Can you invest something long-term that, fuck, I mean, people kind of like expecting,
People want to, it's interesting you say that because people always want to get lucky. Mm-hmm. They just want this lucky break.
Yes.
And breaks don't come from luck, in my experience. Breaks come from looking at where you are, looking at where you want to be, identifying the opportunity and the skills that you need to get to bridge that gap and executing relentlessly on acquiring those skills and then applying those skills to your own thing that can allow you to bridge the gap. And that happens, in my experience, over I realistically think you could do it over 12 to 24 months to start to move.
Yeah.
And then over a 5-year period, you can exponentially increase and move your position to a whole new fucking level. But it doesn't. But if you think about, you recently just got a green card, right? That's been something that's been on your radar for like 5 to 10 years to get to this point. And you've just achieved it, but you've done hundreds of millions in e-commerce sales before that.
Yeah.
But yet, even though you've done all hundreds of millions in e-commerce sales before that, you think you still don't know whether you've got a country to live in yet. Like essentially, you've lived like that.
Yeah.
So it's like it's all been like segment. It's like nothing happens overnight. Nothing good happens overnight.
Yeah.
So lose as soon as I freed the mentality, Alex, where I thought that things were going to happen overnight. As soon as I started to play long-term games, long-term people, as soon as that happened, my whole life changed in terms of I was more chilled, I was happier.
Yeah.
Everything I did was more fulfilling.
Yeah.
The client relationships I had were more fulfilling. I wasn't trying to clip quick money and all this shit, and everything was just easier. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to get there in 3 years' time. I don't have to get there in 12 months.
Yeah.
And it's a more joyous journey.
Yeah. And I see that like reflecting, because was that kind of like, think about it, right? Like obviously you want to make money and it's fine, right? But it's like, if you're looking at things like from very short-term perspective, that's what we realized. Okay. Yeah. We made a few $1,000s like doing this, like in profits. So fucking what? We're back to the factory. All right.
Yeah.
And then back then, like we were thinking already, want to move to either to UK or to United States, right? Like to live.
Thank fuck you picked the United States instead of the UK.
I'm realizing that. I'm realizing that now. I mean, now like knowing what I know, kind of like seeing everything, and the last few years, I was blessed with a lot of success on in our business. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would live in Dubai or something. Thinking the tax kind of like implications. So, but I think that's a different story. But that shift in thinking happened. That first, no one will figure it out for you, right? You have to figure this shit out, right? Yes, their family, they might be supporting you. I mean, my family wasn't necessarily supporting me. So my family, like, even as we were like, I was working as a freelancer, then we started our own business. Probably I made like, I probably already was like a millionaire when I told them that I'm not working in the factory. And for them, it was like a shocking experience. Like, how the fuck, you're not working in the factory? So, you've just broken a generational pattern there. Yeah.
That's what you'd broke. Not just your own pattern, but you broke a whole family generations of patterns, because all they knew was go to work, get a job, work in a factory in Ukraine. That's all they knew.
Yeah.
So it's like you were the first one to step out of the mold of like, do you know what? I'm going to ask the question, what happens if I want more for myself? And I'm going to see where that fucking leaves me, because this is leading me to like, I walk out in the sun in the yard and I'm thinking to myself, oh, great, this is great. I get 5 minutes in the sunshine today.
Yeah.
It just amazes me how privileged we all are to live in a time like we do now, where every one of us that listens to this podcast can step out and earn their first dollar of revenue online, or their first $100,000 online. And let's be honest, let's not even talk about millions of dollars here. If most people earned a couple of $100K a year online, which is entirely possible to achieve in 12 months, I believe, then you've probably just got yourself out of that. Even if you get yourself out of that $400,000 a year job as a corporate fucking high flying lawyer, it's still better to earn $200,000 online and have your time to yourself and go to the gym and not have the Louis Vuitton bags, and to have $200K online revenue than it is to have $400K in a job where you're taxed at the highest amount of rates. You've got no offsets, you've got no life, and you're highly stressed. So I just think that people are a lot closer to that first dollar than they think. Quick one for you guys. This podcast is sponsored by contentremoval.com. As many of you are probably aware, I set up contentremoval.com in 2017 to help people remove all forms of online content, and I've looked after some of the biggest names and brands in the world doing it. and I would love to help you if you're struggling. If you're struggling to remove images, videos, search results, fake accounts, or anything online, go to contentremover.com and we'll help you today. How would you suggest that people go and find their first dollars online if they're in the position where they've not started anything? Very
good question. I mean, yeah, everything has evolved so much since I was starting, so it's gotten even better from my perspective because, so I can tell you like the opportunities that I see from my side.
I'd love to,
because I'm in e-commerce, right? That's my bread and butter. And like, I see the opportunities that are present to people right now in e-commerce space specifically. And, for instance, one of the things that is, very easy to do is just being like content creator, UGC content creator, right? You don't have to be like even, it's not only for ladies that are good looking or like model looking, right? It's like regular people. So for example, for us, we are paying for our brands, we're paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars per month. I mean, collectively, it's probably like $50,000, $70,000 per month just for creators, which means like we're paying people to create content for us. Like, hey, I got this product, and people do the review or people read the scripts that we give them, right? But people getting paid for that, right? So it's like you can be working like, say maybe you're a stay-at-home mom, right? Or maybe you just like, have few hours, after work. Doesn't matter you men or women because there are different brands looking for different like UGC creators. And you can just like, hey, Fiverr, Upwork, LinkedIn. There's so many like you can get your initial clients from there. Then you have a portfolio. Twitter is a big for UGC content creators. So these 4 platforms can give you like, your first clients, and then from there you can get even more clients because you already had the success. It's the same principles. So that's just one avenue, right? And you can get this from like realistically, I don't know, maybe I'll do this like an experiment. I'll just, like kind of like record like a whole case study or have someone on my team do it because I think that's such a tremendous opportunity in terms of the barrier of entry is super low, right? You can get started very fast. Second, it's smart profit margins. I mean, there's no cost. I mean, you need your phone and you need some microphone, maybe some lighting. It's like a few $100 max. And then it just the effort, just like typing, reaching out, prospecting for yourself, getting your first business. And then if some of the creators that we have, they're on retainer. So every month we're paying them $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per month, just recurring because we want, okay, so for this month we need like 20 pieces of creative. Here's the scripts. Here's what we need. And they're making good money. Like they're staying at home and they have like, so I mean, it only takes them like few hours like per month to fulfill that, right? They can have like 5-10 clients. They can make like 20, 30 G's a month.
It works really well for someone as well, like a personal trainer.
Yeah.
That has them downtime in the middle of the days, that still enjoys training, still enjoys the fitness, they're in good shape, they're a good looking person. They can be testing products in the middle of the days, and they're also learning how to create content. So they're getting the skills on the reels, the TikToks. They're getting to learn the hooks, which is all marketing. And then you learn that skill, and then that skill, when you eventually create your own e-commerce brand, you can plug you can be the person that creates that UGC content at the start, so that you can scale your brands to start with. And then once you generate revenue, you can do what Alex is doing, and you can employ people, and you can get content creators to do it. But that's a good first way to start getting 100%. Dollars. What are the other ways you see for people with a bit more capital that have got like a bit more of a high paying job right now? They've got savings, they've got the ability maybe even to get a bit of credit if they need it. They just want to start and build a brand. What kind of opportunities do you see out there right now?
Definitely. I mean, again, I'm speaking from my perspective. I'm e-commerce. I'm seeing opportunities mostly in e-commerce right now. If I was starting, and starting your own e-commerce business, that's like the products. First, I mean, you can see what products are in demand, what products are selling. There's like spy tools, or you can go on TikTok to see what's selling, what products are selling, right? Second, as you mentioned, that content creator skill is relatively easy to replicate, right? You need your phone. You don't even have to show your face. We have a client of ours. We have this, training program that shows people how to build e-commerce businesses, and he's developer. He's a developer, and he's Not very creative type of person. He's like probably close to 40 years old now. And he started TikTok, organic TikTok. He doesn't show his face. He just shows the product. He made $100,000 in sales, about 40% profit margin in the last 3 months. I think from that perspective, like leveraging, as you said, and you have the business mentality, right? Like once you have the skill, okay, how you can leverage that skill with even more leverage, right? Because once you have your brand, it's your products, you make bigger, profit margins. Obviously, there's more responsibilities, more overhead comes with that, right? But you can start small and gradually build that momentum up and grow that store eventually to, millions of dollars. So that's exactly what I would do. Products you can source on, you can fulfill from AliExpress if you want. You can use some private agents. There are platforms like CJ Dropshipping where you can source products. So product sourcing is done. Store, Shopify gives you the trial. Sometimes there's like even 90 days, so you don't have to pay for that. You can build the store yourself. There's tutorials on YouTube. And then in order to, you want to learn the copy, you want to write, kind of like learn how to do all of that.
ChatGPT-4 will do it for you. I think the biggest thing that people got to learn when it comes to like copywriting now is the prompts that you use.
100%.
Right? So it's like what I do, and I'll give you example of the prompt. I won't tell you exactly how I use it because I use it myself right now. But I'll give you example where I go, okay, I want this. I'll copy a sales letter for let's just say unnamed brand. Copy a sales letter. And I'll say, rewrite this in the voice of, and then I'll say popular copywriter's name that's a top copywriter, whether it be your Frank Kern, your Dan Kennedy's, your all the Swartzes, all the best ever existed, where there's lots of content about them that ChatGPT-4 has indexed, right? So they know their voice, they know style. And I'll say, write it in their voice. And you'll be amazed at what ChatGPT-4 will write in the voice of that copywriter about that sales letter. So you write a direct response copy sales letter, then put it in ChatGPT-4 and it will refine it and write it in the voice, and you'd be amazed at the quality of the sales letter you can pull out of ChatGPT-4 with the right prompts.
Yeah, it's even, exactly what you said. It's like I didn't have access to that. I didn't have, like, when I was starting out, like I had to actually write stuff, myself. Like now it's even more simplified, right? So and you can apply it like even as a service business. Okay, I'll write your whole like product pages, home pages, write the copy for your whole website, right? You can write emails for people, right? So it's just like so many different avenues, right? Now the key to get there, because like I remember how it was for me. It's like, am I competent enough, right? Am I competent enough to even like, apply for these projects, right? And at least, at the beginning, if not my wife pushing me, I mean, obviously we had no money to live on. So, I mean, kind of like I was back to the wall. Yeah. And my wife like was giving me extra push. But then like, man, I mean, this was like kind of like overcoming that belief. Am I good enough? No, you're probably not. Right. But you still have to fucking do it. Like everyone is, at some point starting from zero. Right. And everyone needs that initial kind of like success to leverage to get even more kind of like success and clients, whatever that is. And so I think that, one of the things that people can try is just working for free or working for a very like nominal fee. Or even as you said, with your service, is like, hey, send me what you want, to do, right? I'll get it done. I'll show you that I know my shit, right? And then you can pay me. I love that, right? It's a very simple offer. It's a irresistible fucking offer.
Yeah. 100%. Like, obviously, if people want to work with me initially, like it depends on the clients. I'll only do an offer like that for my ideal clients, and I know they're ideal. So like ideal clients to me are people that are creating content online. There can be content creators, there can be celebrities, there can be brands, they can be whether it's an e-commerce brand or a commercial brand, like in terms of, but like they're my ideal clients. One, I know they're qualified for the retainer prices that we charge. Two, I know that when we remove content or do whatever we're going to do service wise for them reputationally, that it's going to generate them revenue. So I'm not selling them removal, I'm selling them revenue now. Not so I've just gone, okay, well, yeah, you get content removed, but the bonus is if that costs you 7.5K over there, you make 50 grand over here. So it's like, it's it just makes everything no brainer. I think that's how you've got to move as a service-based business in this space, because service-based businesses, they're great for cash flow in certain respects, but they're not as good as an e-commerce business when it comes to the multiple when you sell it. So you kind of play in between those lines, in it. Like, you got the businesses that you're building, I would say, are the long-term assets that people should build. But I think that in order for people to get the skills to be able to do that, I think you first need to play the service game, play the freelancer game. You've played the freelancer game. I never played the freelancer game. I went straight from sales into service-based business, but it was a bit like freelancery at the start, because I didn't have any employees and this, that, and the other. I didn't have any people around the world. So I think stack the skills and then apply the skills to the relevant niche and the relevant stuff, and you can kind of see it. But you're so right when you said, just go on TikTok, see who's running ads, see who's running ads on Facebook, see what products are trending, because if it's trending, or they're running ads to it, they're selling it, so the product is proven. So you don't even need half the spyware tools that people say that you fucking need. Like, you can just pick a rather generic product, and if you're a good UGC creator and put your spin on it, you'll sell a lot of those units. Yeah,
exactly. So the market, overall, it seems like, for me, kind of like observing that many things are getting commoditized, right? Probably UGC creators will get commoditized. Probably some AI will be like so realistic at some point. There's already like AI avatars where they can say, "Hey, Frankie, this is Johnny," and they're kind of like, they look more and more realistic. I think it was like next 5 years. Probably UGC content creators will also be
commoditized.
Yeah, right. So at that point, you'll have to figure something out. So the technology is moving with all of the taxi drivers, right? Like Uber came in, boom, a few years, the whole industry is democratized. There's one big ecosystem. The prices, I think it's too present in New York because the mafia is, I think, still controls. That's what I was told. The taxis, right? Where it's they can kind of charge a lot more, for the service, right? But other services, they kind of get democratized over time, where there's competition comes in and everyone has a level playing field. But right now, I think for the next few years, it's an opportunity. And at the end of the day, it's kind of again, I understand this spectrum. This is my industry. This is my, bread and butter. That, the companies that will do well, right? Okay, UGC creators can be replaced, right? Or kind of so you only have few avenues where you can improve, right? So that will be, for instance, overall selling stuff, right? I think because of the, you mentioned, advertorials and that kind of stuff. And this is applicable to e-commerce mostly, learning how to communicate, right? Learning how to communicate the value of your product, right? Learning how to communicate, you communicating, and extracting value from people and sharing it with millions of people, right?
Yeah,
that is a massively fucking valuable skill set, right? Either it's communicating in writing or communicating in verbally, convincing people of certain things, convincing people that they need this fucking product, convincing people that, you need to get on, do certain things, right? Politicians convincing us to do certain fucking things, right? So I think in a bigger scheme of things, if you just disattach, what will be the skill, right? Because people listen, it's UGC creator. What's the point of becoming UGC creator or, whatever, or getting in this industry if it will be commoditized over time, right?
It's not the skill, is it? It's actually the pieces of information, how do I create that feeling in that person to get them to buy this product, so how do I communicate better? See, you were saying about commoditizing UGC, which I agree with. It will be commoditized and it will be AI'd and it will replace you. But the most important thing about learning to create UGC now is the fact that you can identify what is a good piece of UGC content to run with. So you know the hook, you know the middle part, and you know the ending, to the call to action, so that if you know how that's put together, when AI is creating it for you, at least you know what you're looking at. Whereas at the moment, you have no fucking idea, because you're just looking at someone else's content, thinking it might be good, might not be good, but you have no experience, because you've not took your sword out and started fighting in the arena. So it's like, at least fight in the arena, because I believe Shopify stores in the next 12 months, you'll be able to go into like Shopify, type into Shopify in the AI, and Shopify's own AI system, I believe, from what I saw from an ad the other day, will be able to create the website and all the copy and throw it in and write all the blogs for you, right? Shopify is developing that AI now. So you won't even have to develop your Shopify site. You won't have to, it'll even pick your products for you and everything. Shopify doing all that. I understand it, but unless I understand the fundamental skill above that right now, I'm not going to know whether Shopify's AI has done me the best job, because I still think you're going to have that human element touch 100%. To it.
Yeah, and it won't be like, I don't think it will be trained for kind of like being like hardcore direct response, or like, you know, it will be nicely looking and branded, right? But you still have to understand. I mean, you were talking about like Dan Kennedy, like all of the like OGs.
I love them, mate.
You know, and so
sales letters.
Yeah, exactly. So those kind of skills that, yes, AI will kind of be able to replace it, you know, in some way, right? But then you still need like a human touch, right? It won't be perfect, and you need to understand and you need to know like what prompt to give to it, right? And then you can take that skill, and then it doesn't matter what. Maybe you want to sell like a digital product. Maybe you want to sell like a course. You want to sell like a physical product, right? You want to sell, I don't know, maybe, you know, paid subscription to your podcast, right? Whatever the product is, you have to sell it, right? So you mentioned you transitioned from the sales kind of and
straight into service-based business. Yeah.
So, I mean, in sales you sell, service business you have to sell, e-commerce you have to sell, Amazon. I mean, your listings, if you're like selling on Amazon, your listings have to fucking sell. So learning how to sell, right? And you can start with like written format, maybe you're like introvert, like, and then transition that skill to whatever like avenue, as you said, like you have. I think it's still, you know, it's a tremendous skill, and I don't see it's losing, you know, its relevance anytime soon.
Yeah, and one of the things that I know was massive from obviously reading a lot of your stories and talking to a lot of my friends in e-commerce is that when you started to introduce these advertorials and this long form sales letter type content into as your front end to your e-commerce to get the sale, that's when things really went off for you, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah. We've been doing advertorials in 2018. I think one of the first, I mean, we could have done even better. I think my vision wasn't big enough at that point. You know, was like advertorials. And so with 2018, we were already doing advertorials.
So break down how you came across advertorials, because what I couldn't understand, and I wasn't thinking about advertorials back then, but I couldn't understand, because long form sales letters to me is what websites should really be.
Yeah.
We've gone back to the days where it's all like glossy wiggles, low text, this, that, and the other. But I believe that the best websites are the ugliest ones in the world. They just have the name at the top of the page, a few links, and then one long form sales letter with a call to action at the bottom, like a Frank Kern style, like Dan Kennedy, like all these people, long form sales letters, because you're only like one long form sales letter away from millions of dollars on the table, because especially with a content removal type business, this and the other. I've got one on my website. I've got a few on my website because they convert. Yeah, they fucking convert. Like, I never understood why e-commerce brands weren't doing that a few years back when service-based businesses were killing it with this kind of stuff. So how did you come across it, and why did you consider to put it on the front end of an e-commerce brand? Like, give me a bit of an insight into that.
I think it was I don't think I was putting like strategy behind or something. I just seen that people in the affiliate space are doing this shit. And if you go to like Business Insider, I think CNN, you see all of these like small ads on the bottom, like native ads. And they usually have like very like catchy pictures or very like weird pictures. And you're like, you click out of curiosity. But then imagine some grandma, like 65 years old, she clicks on that, right? She has no idea about your company. She has no idea about like
the branding.
What do you sell, right? And then it's like this picture out of curiosity, and you can't even target them as good as you can, let's say, on Facebook, right? Facebook has, a lot of data. On native, it's a lot more like raw. It's like 65 plus. There's not much targeting unless, it's just which websites it show up for. But, it's very broad audience. So you have to convince that grandma to give you the money for the product she sees for the first time in her life, right? And so now, obviously, understanding, you kind of like, let's say you sell like a back pain product or sell like a beauty product for women, like a cream that can eliminate wrinkles. So the problem is there. The awareness is there. They know they have wrinkles. Like they know they have wrinkles, and probably they already tried like 20 different solutions.
Yep.
Now you have to convince them that, your product is the best. And so you kind of like go through that whole process, discrediting all other solutions. Like that's why it didn't work for you. That's why all these products didn't work for you. But that's why it's like you did 99% of everything correct. But like, or let's say you did like 95% of everything like wrong, but there's like one thing that you are like missing, right? And so that one thing is what will make a difference, and that becomes the unique mechanism of the product, right? So every product, whether it's like supplement, like vitamins, it needs to have something unique, right? Because in these industries, right, like by definition, let's say if you're selling, I think they're just different kind of products. I'm just sharing kind of like what we do, because we're in a very competitive space, like makeup, beauty products, extremely competitive. If you just sell like a gadget that just looks good and like very fascinating, then you can just sell it by the looks of it. Then you don't need advertorials, right? It just looks good. It's clearly like understand,
But you're talking about products that, say, a woman would buy, like, why this red lipstick is the best red lipstick for her handbag. Do you know what I mean? Or
100%.
why this anti-wrinkle cream blows all other anti-wrinkle creams out the water. And you're just through the sales copy, you're just going down the page, and you're answering all of her pain points. You are getting over all of her disbeliefs in the product. You go for it, and by the time she's read through that long form sales letter, and I believe these advertorials work really well for the Facebook generation, the 50s to 65s. Yeah, because they really can, and you could just sell shitloads of products like this. Yeah,
that's exactly what we do, and like since 2018 we've been doing this, and so I found those like on affiliate networks, and I'm like, okay, that looks interesting. And so I took the template, pretty much the template, like replicated it like almost like one-to-one, changed the word, changed the copy, because we were selling different products. Broken English. I mean, at that point, like my English still has accents, I'm probably making like shitload of grammar mistakes. Doesn't fucking matter. It was selling because it was focusing, like 90% of that was focused on the pain that people have, was showing them the solution, right? And people are like, yeah, it seems like a new shiny object, right? You have to think about from the perspective, I think, of like shiny objects, like, because what people haven't seen, right? Or maybe the product's even the same, but you can change the perception of your product. And I think like if you can craft the perception, I mean, that's what politicians fucking do. Like they paint the picture, right? It doesn't exist. Most of the times they don't fucking deliver on what they say, right? But they paint the picture of this like beautiful, it's either Trump making America great again, or, whatever, like the big kind of like picture, people visualize it. Yeah, everything will be perfect. I mean, fucking healthcare will be free, which will never be. But, they sell people on this idea, right? And convincing them that this is possible. And so, and I think that is the greatest skill in the world. Like, you can apply that skill in any industry. You can apply it to like e-commerce, selling whatever products. I mean, it's always the same product. You have to convince, and I wouldn't even think like about like masses, right? You have to think about one person that you have to convince. What do you have to tell that person to convince them that, first, I mean, they have a pain, right? Second, you have the solution, right? convincing them why other solutions didn't work for them and why they should buy from you. And I think that is, if focus on mastering that particular skill set, and it's easy to master really, because the easiest way to master is just like, go on affiliate networks, see how they're selling their products.
100%.
Go on ad libraries, see the best ads and how they're selling this product, and just connect the dots. Maybe it's so easy. Maybe I'm oversimplifying, because I see it like, boom, I can instantly see, I'm a decent marketer at this point,
If you want to see someone who sells services at a good level, guys, who sells hundreds of millions of dollars worth of services online through direct response copy, go into Facebook ad library, look up Sabri Subi, look up Frank Kern, and start studying the copy that they're writing. If you want to see companies that are selling these e-commerce brands, go look at any supplement company that's selling on e-commerce a lot of brands, and you'll find that at any one time they're testing 50 to 100 long form sales letters as advertorials, and they drive everyone to a sales letter. They're not driving them to the website. And if you want to make mass amount of money out of it, sell the products that you're selling on that advertorial as a subscription. And then once you sold them once, you got them on a 12-month retainer for the product to come every week. Because I remember my mum used to buy off these advertorials, these random fucking things that she get 12-month subscription for.
Wow.
In America. And it's just like, it's constant rebilling cycles. Advertorials, I think, are the greatest thing to ever hit e-commerce and anything really.
Yeah, definitely. And knowing how to convince people about the value of your product or service, right? Even like service, it's also, as you said, like your service is you can sell it as well with sales letters. So let's say
I do. Yeah. Trust me, I know this. I know sales letters, because sales letters are 80% of my revenue of all my businesses have come from sales letters. Because I don't. Because there's a particular way. I'll have to break this down in another podcast sometime. But there's a particular way that you can direct response write your Facebook ad that directs them to a sales letter. Then and then you qualify that lead. If you're just looking to if you're a service-based business and you want to even just qualify the lead to see if they're even worth getting on the phone with, you want a long-form sales letter between you and them putting that information in that website. Because if there isn't, you're going to be ringing, and your people are going to be ringing people that are not even qualified to get on the phone with you. Because sales copy is to qualify the person just as much as it is to disqualify them as well from being your client. And that's how I use sales letters for a service-based brand. But I just think the way that you're using it is just totally different level, because you can say, I saw David Fogarty show people how to do this actually on YouTube with a lemon scrub.
Oh, lemon scrub,
the lemon scrub thing that he did on YouTube. That was an advertorial sales letter role. So there's so many videos out there showing people. You've got videos on this. David Fogarty's got videos on this. Like people, anyone that's listening to this podcast can just go and see these advertorials in real time from the tutorials that you guys have showed, plus see all these. It's just mental how much opportunity there is if you're willing to do it. You should never be sending someone ideally to your website to
unless this is like very, someone who's like already knows your product. Maybe you can send them from your, like, if they bought from you already, right? They already know your brand, they already trust it. Like you don't have to kind of like create obstacles on their journey to buy. You just send them to the website. But unless that's already that kind of person, or maybe someone who's like, maybe you do like retargeting. It's like someone who's seen your website, seen your ads, like they're kind of like very hot, right? So you don't want to, again, create like extra obstacles for them to buy. But unless it's those kind of like small buckets, like 90%, 95% of people, like you will have to, as you said, qualify. You have to like convince them that your product is the one that they need. And again, why all other products didn't work for them? Because most people will be selling products that are like commoditized in some one way or another. If you're selling like a cream, you're selling like a back pain device, you're selling, like 95%, or even services, right? Services are commoditized as well. Like what's the difference between this provider and this provider? It's like this website, right? You have to disqualify and show the difference of your product. That's such a big thing, right? Really understanding what other solutions people have tried to do and why they didn't work for them.
Well, most good advertorials that I've seen, especially in the space that you're talking about, are where you get competitors' product, which is the elephant in the room that most people don't want to address, and you make it front and center, and you go, here's the competitor, here's why this is better than this, and that is the hook that gets people to start reading in the first place. Here's why this is damaging your skin, and this is going to enlighten your face. And you call out the elephant in the room, and then that leads into the copy, and then the copy goes right, and then that starts the war, and just people are engrossed in this thing. And people are like, who reads long form sales copy? Buyers read long form sales copy, guys. People who are going to buy your product read long form sales copy, because if you are interested in changing your, say, I've got hyperpigmentation on my face, right? So if I saw a long form sales copy that talks about me solving my hyperpigmentation issues, this, that, and the other, I'm going to read it because I'm conscious of the fact of like I've got hyperpigmentation. So I'm going to be like, if I can solve this in this cream or this, that, and the other, you're going to have an opportunity to sell me that shit, because like, I might be, I'm cool about it. But what I'm saying is, if I wasn't cool about it and I didn't accept myself, and I'm one of these people that's like, oh my God, I got this, my skin's here, my this, that, there. You could sell me on that, because you're selling me on my thing where I don't feel the best at. And you can do that through long form sales copy. I don't believe you can do that on the short form website with the Shopify bullet points and boom, 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 boom. It's like, you're just another product.
Yeah, and another like downside of that is for those kind of products, right, where you just, again, you're in the competitive category, right? You're selling something that many other people are selling. Then let's say you drive them to your website and they see the product and they see the price, right? But before they see the price, they haven't built the value, right? What you said about, for instance, your service, like, okay, you're building the revenue, you're building the value of the product before they even see the price. And that is so important to see, because unless you're like Apple, right? I mean, even Apple, right? They disclose the price at the end of the presentation, right? It's like, they don't say like, hey, this will be $1,000 and here's, it's like first they're building the value of, hey, the camera will be fucking this, right? And the microchip, like the building, like fucking this anticipation of like the microchip that like super fast and powerful. And so they're building all of that, and then only at the end of the price. You go on Shopify website, hey, you land, you see like, oh, it's like $50. Probably go on Amazon, get it for 20 or something, right? So I think building that, right? It's like as with dating, right? Or with, like dating, like you don't, propose to anything significant, and
you don't go up to a 15 out of 10 at a bar and say, you know what I mean? Just start to, hit them with that deep line straight away. Do you kind of build it up? You have a little bit of patter around. Go on a few dates. That's ultimately how you convert, and the kind of products that if you're bringing a new product to market, for argument's sake, you're going to need to educate the customer on why they need this product. In essence, with some of these products, I know it's different if you're talking about the widget spinner or something like that, which is more of a TikTok-y product, and it's under a certain price. You don't need an advertorial for that. But how has like this changed your revenue, and like ROI and all that kind of stuff? How's it changed the ROAS? How's it brought the ROAS down and all that kind of stuff by putting the advertorials in? Like, can you give me an example of the changes in okay, this brand was at this point and now it's at this point because of this?
I think it's 50 to 100% more profitable. So, for example, 2018, we're running one of our brands like $500K a month, like relatively small numbers. And we're running like 1.7, 1.9 return on ad spend. And we added advertorials, like first day, it's 3x.
First day?
Yeah. So, and then it just, obviously with scale, it's kind of like, went down to like 2 and a 2 and 4. But like the difference is just insane. Just the difference is in the conversion rates, right? And you can charge more for the same product as well, because that traffic that you're sending is a lot more qualified to buy. Like you kind of like make them want the product. Before they even see the product, you made them want it. Like, how much is that? I want to see it. Like, I really wanted this product, and then then they see the price. Oh, it's only this. Okay.
And do you keep it a certain price point on the page? So is it products over $50 but under $100 for argument's sake?
Mm-hmm.
These kind of is that the kind of sweet spot for the product price?
Yeah. I mean, we usually we sell two different categories of products. So one is gadgets, right?
Yeah.
So with gadgets, we're trying to be like $150.
Yeah.
So it allows us to have about $120 like gross margin to get a customer. So if our CPA is like $80 to get a sale, we're profitable. Even if we're at 100, we're still profitable. So it gives us the competitive edge to spend more on ads and get in front of more people. If we're selling consumable product that is, let's say, like under $50. Bigger picture. If the product is like, again, $20, $30, something kind of like, I think in terms of those like frameworks, as you said, like TikTok or some other products, if the product is $20, you don't need like advertorial. Like you can just like, hey, here's a product, here's how much it costs. If it's visual, you can show like results of the product. Boom, $20 is not a big kind of like, you don't want to slow down people from and make them overthink that purchase, right? $20 I think is a benchmark. Up to like $30. You can even push like to $30. But above that, you need to like pre-frame, you need to pre-qualify that click, right? Before they click. So sales letters, like kind of like more aggressive, like advertorials, that's usually about like $50, $70. In my experience, ideally, we're just going above like $100 because of the margin structure, like economics, and just to be able to spend more on the acquisition and be profitable still.
The advertorials that I love that everyone uses and everyone gets conned with is not conned with, but like, come on, it's fucking obvious. It's an advertorial. Is face cream, and it's made to look like a news ad. And it looks like it's come from the Daily Mirror in the UK or the Sun or something like that. It's made to look like a news ad for whatever country they're targeting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's honestly on a different domain, like thesunnews.com rather than the Sun. Like, and it's and they make that advertorial on that, and then the call to actions in the copy to buy this cream, like new cream found out to take age off you in 4 years. Like it's just some call to action on it, and it's just. And you'd be amazed. These things must convert like an absolute motherfucker. Otherwise, people would not be using them. And I see them all the time, like used. Is that kind of? Do you use some ones of that?
We kind of like with claims and everything. There's people that kind of like playing this on the extreme of things, where they're like the claims are just like outrageous, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like there's like a sweet spot there where. You want a big promise, but you don't want to be like too big promise, right? Yeah. Because then product doesn't deliver the promise, and then people are not buying again, right? With consumables, with creams, I mean, if your goal is profit, like on the front end, then you can go like pretty aggressive, right? Just but if your goal is to like kind of like just get a customer, have them try the product, and have them come back. Then you just want to be like find this sweet spot between like being aggressive and kind of like also maintaining the saying things that the product actually delivers. There's also Facebook ads policies. There's like FTC that's kind of like controlling.
Yeah, you got to hit the notes.
Yeah.
What are you doing to increase the back end revenue? So are you upselling them just on the same product they've just already bought? Which is a classic one where you bought one, do you want to buy 2 or 4 pack or whatever this? Are you doing that? And plus, are you doing subscriptions? And what other tactics do you implement to make the back end revenue work?
Definitely. So one of the things that we do is we are offering like membership. So let's say if someone buys the product, and we're like very clear about this. Like if you want the membership, like we have like VIP membership club where you can get all the products with like 40% off on the website. And also you get like some special deals. We have like a private community. We also have like a course that, if it's in beauty, like, hey, how to apply makeup, the best like skincare routines, stuff like that. Some, pretty much like valuable content that would help people to maximize the results. even like diet plans, like what are the diet plan to maximize the effectiveness of your skincare routine. And so for that, it's like basically the offer is like first upsell is like, hey, you want this product for free or this product for free? And if you're getting one of these for free with your order, maybe it's like another bottle of cream, or maybe it's like a, smaller bottle for free. But if you're getting it, it also will enroll you into the automatic membership. You can cancel it up to 14 days, right? So you can get the product, cancel it, you won't be charged, no problem. But then if you do it, then, it's let's say $19 per month that you'll be paying to be a part of the membership club. And then, from there, like you can also cancel anytime, but you will be getting credit in our store. You'll be getting all the products with the discount that you want. Some people do the auto ship, wouldn't do that. But you can get any products on the website, access to content, access to community. So it's kind of like the model where we merge, this kind of like the course education part of things.
Yeah. So how to use the product. Yeah.
Because that's a key. I mean, I'm buying like different things as a consumer myself. There's a brand called Nootopia. Like it's a big like nootropics brand and company. And so this selling you these like big boxes of like different nootropics, so to make your brain work better, to be more productive and stuff like that. But then as part of that comes, they send you the book, right? And there's like education. And also there's like a mini course that kind of like guides you through different aspects of how to maximize the output of your brain, right? Yeah. Because I think this is where like, I think it's a big opportunity for brands as well, as you said, for, why they're not using like advertorials or video sales ladders, let's say on Facebook, VSLs, right? Or YouTube. It's the element of education where you're not in business of, in e-commerce specifically, you're not just in business of selling people stuff. You're in business of educating them.
Consumer,
yeah. Educating them and helping them achieve the best output with your product. Now, this will obviously depend on different kind of, products. But even let's say if you're in the fashion, right? Hey, the best styles you can have, right? Or how to like match colors correctly, right? Or how to, let's say if you're selling like fashion products, apparel products, educating customers how to get the most output from what you just sold them. And I think that's where like the big opportunity, obviously it's, health, fitness, those are the easiest, like, hey, 10 exercises to help you get the best, output from this supplement, right? You're buying the supplement, hey, here's like the exercise stack, and here's the video training, pre-recorded for you. You can just follow the training. And we also have the community. So if you want any advice, so one of the brands like just crushing that model is called V-Shred.
Oh, mate.
So
fucking this geezer. Honestly, I saw old V-Shred. He's a quality guy because he filmed a piece of content. It's genius. He put like the fake Joe Rogan curtain behind, and he's done the podcast as if he's getting interviewed on Joe Rogan, and he's used that as the photo that leads into his advertorial.
Oh, really? So did he use like his voice or no?
No. So the photo is of him shot as if he's getting interviewed on Joe Rogan.
Oh, wow.
But no
reference.
No,
right?
no reference to Joe Rogan. But your eyes would tell you that that's Joe Rogan's studio, judged by the backdrop. So he used that as his lead in things. Another thing I was going to say is, I think if you're like a brand like, say, even like Matt Kelly's brand who's been on here, like Space Goods, like running 50 different advertorial variations, educating people on mushrooms, why they should take this mushroom brand of chocolate thing, would absolutely crush for that brand. Like, because it just send it off. I mean, I don't know if Matt's doing that or not. I might have to text him after this, but I was thinking that probably about 8 weeks ago. Why? Because I saw their ads on Facebook and I was like, why are they not running advertorials? Like, because those ads, if they were advertorials, would bring over the older crowd onto that type of stuff. You kind of missing out. I bet if I looked at the customers for that business, they're between a certain age point, probably about between 18 and 40. Whereas advertorials would get people of 40 to 55 to 60, I reckon, into that brand and create lifetime value. And you could sell them on the subscription through the long form sales letter. Just be mental.
Yeah. And also you can sell the more value you build. I mean, and there's also versions of advertorials that are applicable to even to younger demographics, like 5 reasons why. 5 reasons why this product is blowing up on TikTok. 5 reasons why performance conscious, professionals love this product. 5 reasons why this product is, can enhance your like brain performance. 5 reasons this product is the best selling product in 2023. 5 reasons why this product is on the wish list for your target audience, right? So, and these would be like very simplified version of advertorials. I think that
see why Peter Thiel swears by this brain enhancing supplement. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then you have that as
he's using that product.
No. What I'm saying, you were just ready to buy it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? But you can have the news. Peter Thiel uses this product to enhance his brain type heading, and then straight into an article about your product. It's like I see it. So many times. I see it so many times done badly, but when it's done well, this thing crushes in ecom. Like it really crushes, and your numbers are proof of it. With the brands that you've had, you've done over 100 million plus, way over 100 million now in collective sales. We were speaking, but I won't release that number, but we were speaking about it before the podcast. Smashed it. And just even just hearing you say, like, we've gone from, say, that product was doing $1 million, and then we've 10x'd it to 10 million a month because of this advertorial. It's like, that tells you everything you need to know about at least test this. On any product you're doing in e-commerce, you should be testing advertorials on it, because I think you're just mad if you don't, because it'll bring your cost of acquisition of a customer down massively.
And there is an app. So if you're using Shopify, most people probably using Shopify. There's an app called Replo, Replo, Replo app for Shopify. And it basically allows you to copy the best performing advertorials, like landing pages, with one click. So they have the library of those. You copy them to your account, you customize it obviously for your own product, and you push it live. So the
Replo, Replo.
Replo, yeah. And I'm not like associated. I'm not getting any kickbacks or from them or anything. It's just a good app. And then there's also Gem Pages, Pagefly, these like landing page builders that can help you to get, good like entry point into advertorials, right? Because it's obviously, let's say you want to write like very sophisticated like sales ladder or something. I mean, it takes a bit of skill, right? So you can start slowly, gradually, and then move to those like more complex sales mechanisms in order for you to sell your product. But you can start, it's very low barrier of entry. It's very easy to do, right? The part that most people skip, and I think that is applicable to any area of life, is the just kind of like understanding like first like who is selling to. Right? Who's the buyer, right? Just doing the research, going through Amazon comments, right? Like why people are happy or unhappy with the product, right? Maybe your competitor product, maybe you don't have like a lot of reviews for your product. So going and understanding that, so then what are the pain points of the product, what are the reasons people buy or don't buy the product from your competition or don't like it, and just using that as your weapon. Right, using their own words against them.
Answering it in your sales copy, you can see through the Amazon comments, you can see all the reasons people don't buy, don't like, and you can answer all that in the sales copy of this long form letter and advertorial, and it kind of just goes down the page and it kind of convinces you to and overcomes those ailments, like you say. It's just a genius way, and I honestly can't think of a good supplement company that I've seen where like Athletic Greens uses these kind of long form sales letters. They might not use them as much now because they've gone heavy on podcasts as well. But I'm sure the podcast links drive you to a long form sales page. Last time I looked, but like all these supplement brands are using these long form sales pages in parts of their business to drive supplement sales. I've not seen supplements successfully sold at scale where they're just driving them to that short form content all the time. It can't just be all their business comes from that.
It's a very competitive category, like supplements, unless if it's lower price point or it comes from let's say it's not that you cannot scale, right? You can scale with like regular Shopify product pages, and people do it all the time. But if you want a competitive edge, I think that just makes so much sense, right? Because you can just like get, even if you get like the boost of your conversion rate by like 20%. Let's say you take it from
that's
like,
a lot though. That is a lot. You're saying it like it's not a lot, but that is a hell of a lot when you're talking on the top. On the top,
and that is very doable. We've seen it like, wow, the conversion rate goes from like 2 to 5%. We're like, wow, shit, this is so powerful. And we see it, not just with our business, but we have a lot of data. Seeing a lot of data from our clients, and it's just like constant trend if you hit it.
But
right.
what this does, and the most powerful thing about it is the fact of it just allows you to have more costs that you can acquire a customer with.
Yeah.
So it allows you to pay more for the customer, and if you could pay more for the customer, you can wipe out all the competition anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you know the lifetime value is XYZ, and now you can spend this portion on acquiring that customer, and I guarantee you, if you're using a long form sales letter, that portion that you can use to acquire the customer is a lot more, probably 4x more actually.
Yeah.
More than your competitor can use on just driving them to the short form page. So that's why I think they're such a powerful mechanism, not just for the fact that they create all this more money for your brand, but they just allow you to go and wipe everyone else out because it amazes me how not as many brands as you think are using these.
Yeah, it's like, as everyone knows, we have to go to the gym and eat right, and like, I think there's an element of kind of, many people know what they need to do. Right, even people like working 9 to 5, they want to like start a business, they probably subconsciously know what they need to do, but maybe they just don't have enough of kind of like motivation, right? Or it's like, for me, I was running away from pain, right? My family was always broke, and I wanted to solve that like once and for all, like where we don't have to worry about money like ever again. Future generations don't have to worry like ever again, and say you work in, as you said, like kind of like example, right? Someone working like making 300 G's a year, right? Like kind of like good, well-paid executive, right? There is not a lot of, there is a pain, probably some dissatisfaction. Maybe they don't like the working hours or how much they work, or they don't like their boss maybe for some reason. And, but the amount of pain is not enough, right?
Right, okay.
And I think that is like, yeah, my e-commerce business is doing well. It is okay, right? So, but on the other side, it's kind of like driving towards like, people run away from pain towards pleasure, right? What is a pleasure? Like, getting my business sold for like 100 million, right? Like, everyone can say that. Yeah, I want to sell my business. But it's like, do you obsess about it? Like, do you want it so badly that every second is spent on making that happen? Because if it was, you'd find a way to make it happen. There's no fucking way. Humans are so like, the brain's so powerful. Like, you put humans on fucking Greenland, you put them on a fucking, like, they live in Arctic, like they live in some coldest, hottest place on planet Earth, and you think like, how the fuck, like why did they move out, right? And because we're adaptable, right? As long as there's enough pain, right? Like for me, it was the work in the factory that just like, I can't go back. Like there is literally like this, the door is fucking closed, back against the wall, you fucking go. And then you figure out a way, like, to make it happen. Or it's like, do you want like, I think pain probably more powerful.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying is like that too many people get too comfortable in their environment and don't have enough drive or enough reasons written down to do it. I remember, Alex, when I started this podcast, and I had this goal in my mind ever since day one. Like, I'm trying to go on the path of creating one of the best education podcasts there is out there that actually moves people fucking forward. That they don't only just hear, they feel it. Like, and that's kind of been my goal. And when you kind of set yourself out with this clear intention and clear goal, and it's just you just laser focused on what it is to you and what the reason you're doing it, and you have a why. And my why was like to help people break patterns and flip perspectives in their life so they can gain more clarity and more focus towards what they do. When you got something so direct and so focused, you can step out and do what you want to do. But it's getting nailed down on what you want and why you particularly want it, and why that why matters to you so much. And when you're clear on that, that's when I found that you can do your best work. And I think if you can just use this time, if you sat in the car going to work right now or wherever you are, and you can just say to yourself, right, today I'm going to get clear on what I want, and then I'm going to get clear on why I want it. And if you can just do those two things today, that will help you in whatever you want to do. Like, because I think that you got clear in that moment, but you didn't even probably realize you'd got clear in it. But you're like, I do not want to, I need to change my life. I need to move my life out of this. I don't want to live this life anymore. Yeah. Right. Why? Because I don't want to, I don't want my family on from this point to go through the generations of feeling poor and having to do and to repeat this pattern. Your why was like attached to a mad amount of pain. Yeah. Same way as Gary Vaynerchuk's was, and same way as other entrepreneurs in the past have been. And it's like, it's attached to so much fucking pain. There's no turning back from that amount of pain, because it's like, fuck this. But you were the only person in your family for like 5 generations previously that had got to that amount of pain with it. It was like, fuck this, I'm shutting the door on it, and I have to go forward with it.
And I think it's like, I mean, I can say about so my grandfather, so he went from Ukraine to Canada to work like some labor jobs. Like, and I mean, you can imagine a fucking trip was probably like 1 month. So was it 1930s, 1920s, 1930s? So he went there to make money, working fucking digging, I don't know, some fucking Ross, or I don't know what they were like digging, like labor job, very hard, very difficult. And so he went there, left his family, it was 1920s, 1930s. He came back, he made a lot of money by those standards, right? He came back. So the part of the Ukraine where I was from, it was like under like Romania, governance, and it was like private property and stuff like that. So he bought a lot of land, So they were like doing well at that particular point of time. But then 1940, fucking Soviets come.
Took all the land.
Took all the fucking land. Like, so he was like, the soldiers come. And my grandma told me this story. And he was like, what the fuck are you doing? And so the fucking, the gun has this fucking wood fucking.
The butt.
Boom. Hit him up. Knock him out. Right? And so, and they bury it, like some of the fucking possessions they had, they fucking bury it, like, so it just like won't get confiscated. But everything becomes like, imagine like you build something, right? They had the fucking land, they had forests. Like at that point, land was the biggest fucking, I mean, even right now, you own the fucking land here, like Miami Beach, like shit. I mean, it's like millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. And so he had that. And imagine like that shit gets taken away from you. Like everything, your life's fucking work gets taken away from you, right? Your whole fucking generation's fucking, what you tried. He tried that shit. He tried like what I'm doing now, like pushing my family to that new fucking level of existence.
So he had already done it, and then all the wealth got taken away, so you had to do it again, essentially.
I have to fucking do it, and I'll fucking do it. And I'll put myself in a billionaires fucking club, because this was fucking taken away from my family. That shit was taken away, and I'll fucking get it back. And so, and then, after that, he didn't live. He lived like maybe he lived like another year or two after that. Like he got like, destroyed. Like,
Just hearing though that the energy that comes with that in your voice says to me that was probably the trigger that you probably lent on when you're in that factory and you're in that moment. You probably lent back to that trigger and thinking, fuck this now. This is why I have to do it again, because you remember that story, and then you go back to it in your mind, and you play this visualization in your head, and you can, once you've got something like that to lean on, that kind of gives you the drive and the reason behind it.
Yeah, man. It's I think everyone has it.
That
wasn't even my pain. That was a pain generations ago. Find the fucking pain.
So fuck.
Like you can find the pain that is like strong enough to get you from where you want to go, lift your ass, fucking start figuring shit out. Like, do something today, tomorrow. Like, it will create a habit. Everyone has time. I mean, fucking Netflix. I mean, people spend time on all this shit. Like, it's like life made so and maybe that is the agenda. Like, make life so easy, so comfortable that people don't even have like very high ambitions. But I mean, I don't want to go like into fucking conspiracy theories, but that's just human behavior. Humans kind of like go into the easiest way of doing things, right? And that just like,
and get pushed there by other parties and get influenced to do it the easiest way. It's not the right way. I mean, we're pushed away at this moment in time. We're pushed away from ownership of stuff and towards rent and everything. But when you look at other people, like you look at where the wealth's moving, they're moving towards ownership, where you're taught to move away from ownership. So you gotta look at the bigger picture, the bigger agenda. But I love the fact of like where you just said there, find your pain. And you don't even have to find your own personal pain. You can find pain within your family to lean on to get you to take the action that you need to take, that you know you need to take you towards what you truly want in life. Like if you don't want to be driving to that job right now, if you don't want to be in that car, if you don't want to be one of these commuters that's going to a 9 to 5 and can be constrained, you can change your life. But the choice has to be yours. If you're doing 400k a month and you want to be doing 4 million a month on that same shop, you can choose to add advertorials too. It's your choice. How much, like, you know, it's different pain for different levels.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because, you know, I mean, considering it's still like it's statistics, right? 100 people, right? I've heard somewhere the comparison that if you give people like evenly distributed the wealth inequality, like the biggest fucking gap, you know, all this shit. Yeah, cool. Take all the money from billionaires, give it away to everyone. Give it fucking 10 years, 20 years. The wealth will be in the same fucking hands. It will come back to where it came from, right? Because it's all in the fucking hand. It's all like beliefs and mindsets, right? That those people have, right, that you can adapt as well through like pains,
through knowledge.
Like, this experiences, and that is, and so if you think about it, like, okay, so my grandfather, everything was taken the year 1940, right? Then there's like 50 years of fucking communism and shit, right? Everything is fucking kind of like common, like it's not your fucking house, it's like fucking
everyone's house.
It's like it's not your fucking field, the government fucking owns it, right? You own shit. And so then brainwash people, hey, this is not yours, taking that away, right? Like kind of the beliefs, like the government fucking propaganda and shit, right? And then still 1990s come in, right? Some people managed to adapt to that environment, and you know, out of that, you know, all the fucking oligarchs in Russia or like Ukraine, there are people that are adapting in that like new environment and, you know, making like millions and billions out of it, and some people just stay with the same mindset. So it's all down to that. It's all down to that how you want to take it and how you want to use the information you're given, isn't it? Opportunity was there. Yeah, it was fucking hard. It was fucking hard. You know what people would do is like they would take fucking bags. So basically, there was like lack of fucking products kind of like being sold in Ukraine because fucking post-communism, nothing's being fucking manufactured and shit. So people would go to fucking Poland, buy like fucking sausages, fucking water, like some electronics and shit. Would take the fucking bags, luggages. They call them, I don't know how it's translated, chelnok. So it's like
bootleggers type things.
Kind of, right? And so they would take all of those bags, would go through customs, bring that shit back in Ukraine, sell it, make some money back, you know, profit, go back, get more fucking bags, bring it back, right? So kind of like go back and forth until, you know, the volume becomes big enough where like eventually those same fucking people were importing fucking containers and fucking hundreds of fucking.
So they were just on the hustle, like, because they're like, you know, we're gonna make the best out of a bad job,
man. Now the fucking opportunity I'm blessed with, like you're blessed, everyone fucking blessed right now. I don't have to fucking carry shit in my fucking hands. Like I can click on a few buttons. I move product through here through fucking borders to the consumer that like. Man, like what the fuck is opportunities? Like, can you imagine? And so the And so, but you don't realize it. I mean, I also like, it's kind of like I have to remind myself of this. It's not like I'm constantly kind of, super excited, but I always refer to this when I have like a low moment or something. Yeah, you have problems in business or like low sales or, whatever issues you have, it's not even comparable to the pain and the things that people had to go through like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Like,
context is a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Man. So I think we live in the best times ever. Like, I mean, it's like you don't have to go to university if you don't have to. Like, it's not like, it used to be like only the blessed ones can go to university. And then obviously they can only associate for the most part with other people from universities. Like, so it's like their circles were so closed, right? Now it's like you can build your personal brand, you can build your e-commerce brand, you can build a service business because everything's open.
It's all, everything you just said there is so true because it's all predicated on your decision. And ultimately at the moment you're in a time in the world where you've got the abundance of opportunities and all you need to do is make a clear decision towards what one you're going to go and put yourself into first. It's simple as that. Mate, it's been a phenomenal episode with you. Like, I've loved the fact that we've gone through this and you've kind of shown the side of where you've come from, but also showing people the opportunities available with the advertorials and with the e-commerce and what you've done in your journey. It's been phenomenal. I like to ask this question at the end of every podcast because I think it really contextualizes and makes the guest contextualize what one thing that they would like to leave on this earth. But if there's one thing, one piece of wisdom that you could leave with this audience today that's going to move them forward, just 1% in their life that they can implement today, and it's the only thing that you can leave them with, and you just had to check out tomorrow, check out the world, but you just leave them with this one golden piece of wisdom, what would it be?
Find your pain. Find your fucking pain. Then you'll move away from it, and then you'll do whatever you need to do.
And that is Alex Fedotoff. And I just, again, thank you so much for coming here today and putting this down. Guys, do me a favor. I hope you've got a lot of value out of what Alex has said there. I hope if you're running an e-commerce brand, you will assess it for whether it's suitable for the advertorial process. I hope it's inspired many of you to find your pain and transform that pain into something that takes you out of a situation that you want to be out of right now. I hope it really captivates that moment for you. If you could do me a solid favor and share this with as many people as possible, leave reviews on the platform where you can leave reviews, leave comments, subscribe on YouTube, do all these things that help this thing grow and move this thing to a new level so I can help more of you and help more of you move to the next level. That would be epic for me. And I appreciate every single one of you listening, and much love. Guys, do me a solid favor, drop a comment below this video and let us know who you want on the podcast next.